Hi, and welcome to Global Conference TV. My name is Kenny Vakai. In the next video, we are having Beth Malatji chatting with Sandile Shabangu, the startup guy. They're chatting about the skills and techniques that help startups launch their businesses successfully. Enjoy.
Who is Sandile Shabangu and what is this startup guy that you go of?
Well, Sandile Shabangu is an entrepreneur, an author, a coach. So I work with a lot of startups. I've started over 15 startups myself. So I've kind of like understood, the entire startup journey. So I'm trying to help South Africans start and stay started in business.
And then how do you help them? What do you help them with? Take me through the journey of you helping the startups.
In terms of helping the startups, we basically link them to all the resources that they need. So we've developed initiatives that are speaking directly to startup needs. So when we sat down, when we started the Startup Mzansi Foundation, we identified about 6 impact areas that we need urgent intervention on. One of them being ensuring that there's an entrepreneurial culture, ensuring that the ecosystem itself is conducive for entrepreneurial growth in our country, looking at education as well. So there are like varied needs for all types of entrepreneurs. So we try by all means to look at the situation. At times some entrepreneurs don't need money, they just need some sort of guidance in a way to get to their desired destinations.
Okay, and then where do you get funding from? Where do you get the support from? Do you have support from other organizations, or do you do this all by yourself?
Since we started, we've been doing everything by ourselves.
Oh, okay. And then I also read that you are an author. Tell me more about your books.
Okay, so my first book came out in 2015. It's called The Startup Recipe. It's basically a guide for young startup creators or anyone who's starting their own businesses. And then my other book, it's more like focused on, it's titled Lessons from the Trenches. So it's basically 7 lessons that I've learned myself, throughout building my startup businesses. So basically they are about entrepreneurship and they're awesome reads.
Okay, and then how do people get hold of your books?
My books are available at Exclusive Books, as well as Take a Lot, and people can actually order them via our platforms. We have on startupguide.co.za as well as startupmzansi.org.za.
On that note of startupmzansi.org and .co.za, what makes it different from all the other online platforms that are available for entrepreneurs out there?
So basically what we are not an incubator, we are not an accelerator, we are not a funder in a way. So we like to see ourselves as a catalyst of the ecosystem. So we are focusing more on the creation of excellent tools to help people start their own businesses. So we are focusing on the establishment of the startup ecosystem. So most of these institutions that are there, you'd find that they're only focusing more on tech. Some of them they're focusing on agriculture. So we welcome entrepreneurs from all walks of life, with all their different ideas, and we try to link them with existing resources that can actually help them in their entire journey.
Okay, so now let's shift a little bit and talk more about wealth creation. What are some of the things you had to sacrifice on your journey to become the startup guy?
I sacrificed a lot of things. I remember when I was starting, like in the early days, because I started as a student in a GCT, that's where I started. I had to sacrifice like time going out. I had to, I remember at some point my girlfriend leaving me.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, those are some of the experiences that a lot of entrepreneurs are faced with. At some point, my family told me that I actually need to stop this thing. I need to go out there and get a job, a real job, a paying job, because in the early days it's so hard for anyone who's starting their own thing. You're just moving around, like doing this and this and this, knocking at doors. Some of them they don't open, but then I persevered, and I'm here right now, looking back, and I'm saying, it's been quite a journey, and the things that have happened in the past, they actually contributed to me being who I am today, and I'm happy about that.
And then how did you get through all that? Because I know it's very difficult when you're starting to convince, your family members or your significant other that, what, this is going to work out in the end. How do you then tell them, even though they don't understand, how do you then tell them that, look, this is going to work out in the future?
Well, it took like a bit of being like stubborn. So I'm so stubborn. I believed in my thing. So I had some sort of a tunnel vision for everything. So I decided, like, I'm gonna block everyone because I believe in this, and this is going to work no matter what. And that's the kind of spirit like that a lot of people actually need, hence, like the move was to like establish the Startup Mzansi Foundation, because, in a way I felt like entrepreneurs are not being supported. They're not being like given attention and stuff. They're not being given, guidance in a way. So I had to ensure that, like, because I've experienced that myself, so I wanted to actually step in and start helping others, because the journey is so hard itself. You can't be able to do everything like by yourself. So you need other people to be supporting you.
Absolutely.
in your journey, to make you like believe that this thing is going to work.
Yes. And then what would you say are the top 3 skills that are needed in order to become a successful entrepreneur?
The top 3 skills, I believe that number 1, it's focus. Number 2, it's community, because I believe, if you belong into some sort of a community, then you are able to learn from others. You are able to build like things, drawing from what's happening in your environment. So the environment itself, I think that's the third one. The environment itself, it should be conducive for anyone to start a business. Without those things, I think people will always struggle to actually start their own things, because without a support, without focus onto your thing, like, I think also having a tunnel vision, as I had that, it's very, very important, and discipline as well.
And then what gives you satisfaction? When you look back into your past, and then you look at your future, and you're looking at your life right now, what is that one thing that gives you satisfaction?
One thing that gives me satisfaction, I think I can just roll back a bit into like when I started the Startup Mzansi Foundation in 2012. One thing that I've realized, because I was like in a process of building my own businesses, and then all of a sudden, a thing hit me that maybe I'm focusing on the wrong thing. Rather shift the focus on helping, other people. So I came to a conclusion: if I am able to actually help 1 million people, achieve their dreams, I'll make more money out of that. So that has been something that's in my line of thinking, because like I believe, like, if you help 1 million people, or maybe if you rather change, the thing from making 1 million rand to helping 1 million people, then you achieve a lot of things.
And you mentioned earlier on that it takes a lot of discipline to become a successful entrepreneur. What is that one piece of advice you can give to somebody who looks up to you, who probably want to be, who probably want to go through the same journey as you are right now?
When I started my business, I learned a quote from some book that I stole in a library. Don't tell them. But yeah, I stole that book, and it was written like, chase your dreams, or else someone will hire you to actually chase theirs. And that has been something that I've been trying to impart in a lot of other entrepreneurs, to say, whatever dream that you have, make sure that you follow or you chase that dream. That's the piece of advice that I can give to anyone who wants to start their own thing, because no one knows what idea or might not work. So people can actually like step up and do anything. Everything is possible if you have the discipline and courage, and the support. Absolutely. To actually go there.
And then what are some of the surprising things people don't know about you?
Surprising things. I play pool one hand.
Okay.
I enjoy like going out. I also like singing. So those are some of the things that a lot of people don't know about me.
Wow. Okay, I think it's very fitting for us to ask you what wealth means to you. What does wealth mean to you? Wealth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wealth. Okay, right. In terms of wealth, I believe, business is not about making money. It is rather about, keeping it. So that kind of philosophy, for me, it was instilled when I was still starting my own thing. I understood exactly that for every 100 rand that I'm making, I have to keep, at least something from that thing. There's no use in making R1 million and spending 900,000 or 1.1 million. You've made money, but you haven't kept money. So a piece of advice maybe that I also like drew from a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. I understood some elements within that to say, if you want to build wealth, you gotta like learn to like for everything that you earning, there's gotta be something that's left, something that you're keeping on the side. So that's what wealth means for me. So as I'm starting my businesses or as I'm doing anything at all, I understand that I should be keeping something. It's not about making, it's about keeping. And if you can instill that kind of philosophy in a lot of entrepreneurs, we'll get so far.
Absolutely. No,
because
you're right.
some of these businesses that we're starting, like actually it's something that you don't even need external funds and stuff like that to actually do that. You can start a small business, make money there, keep money, and then you fund the other initiatives. And I think with the Startup Mzansi Foundation, it fits perfectly well, because we've been funding all these initiatives, about 17 of them, with our own with our own funds and stuff. So because they are all like revenue generating activities, so we've been pushing that to ensure that we keep money and then we reinvest it to other initiatives.
Wow, that's interesting. And what are you currently working on, and what are your future projects that you're going to be tapping onto?
Okay, for this year we just launched the Just Pitch competition. So it's a startup pitching competition for entrepreneurs. So we give anyone who's starting a business 60 seconds to pitch their business for 100,000. So it's more like a 3-stage competition. The first stage is gonna be like the public. The public will be voting for their favorite videos or their favorite ideas. And then the second stage, it involves a professional jury, and then the last one, it involves like a live pitching ceremony where we'll be affording this finalists an opportunity to actually pitch to a live audience, and then from there they win that award, which is 100,000 at this moment.
That's interesting. And then how do people then register to pitch?
They can register they just go to justpitch.co.za. That's their website address. So it's gonna redirect you to a platform on our channel. Then you'll be able to find information there, like including the application pack. How then do you go about, and some other resources as well into like pitching. I know a lot of people have been saying like 60 seconds, that's like too much, but then it's some sort of an experience that a lot of people have been, as soon as you start doing that, you figure out that 60 seconds is quite, too short.
Yes.
Well, that's probably the time that you can actually get from, investors and executives and stuff. They can give you 60 seconds, to say, tell me about your business. And if you cannot communicate your your vision and your business in like 60 seconds, then you're doing it wrong.
And then throughout, the whole journey of working with entrepreneurs, what would you say are some of the common challenges that entrepreneurs are facing, and how do you advise them to overcome that?
In terms of the challenges, a whole lot of entrepreneurs come to me and say, give me money, give me money. And at times, the problem is not about the money. The problem is something else. Maybe in the understanding of the idea, in the business models, in the marketing, it's just a few tweaks there and there. But then every time, all these entrepreneurs, they will say, it's about money, it's about money, it's about money. Whereas it isn't about money. And at times, one other thing that I've identified, it's about the environment itself. The ecosystem is not enabling. When you're looking at how South Africa's entrepreneurship structure, or like how entrepreneurship in South Africa is structured, rather, it's more of like a whole lot of people doing their things. You've got social entrepreneurs or so-called social entrepreneurs, and you have like entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs, you have the NGOs, social enterprises, like a whole lot of people doing their things. There's no integration, there's no collaboration. At times when you're speaking to other people saying like support our businesses, they think conferences, seminars and stuff like that. Our entrepreneurs, or the entrepreneurs that mostly I've worked with, we've come to a conclusion that the conferences and stuff, they're more like supporting in a way. They shouldn't be like the core focus of entrepreneurship, because there are lots and lots of other elements within the thing. We've got a large number of graduates who are skilled in a way, who have some skills, but then they can't be employed by the startups or the guys who are starting their own businesses, because they cannot be able to pay them in a way. So how then do we play around like something that so as to solve the unemployment problem, as well as assist these businesses that are upcoming to have the skills. Maybe let's say you're taking an intern in your startup. There's some sort of an intervention, someone is paying them, or maybe you come to terms to say, I can defer your salary.
Yes.
To a certain point. But then another problem came there to say, how then do you can defer my salary, but then I cannot be able to defer my responsibilities, because society demands that I fulfill my things. I've got to buy bread, I've got to do this and this and this. How then do we work out a situation whereby our entrepreneurs are able to succeed on their journey, as at the same time solving the unemployment kind of a thing. Yeah.
Interesting. And then just to wrap up, why are you doing all this?
Why am I doing all of this? I'm doing that out of love. When I sat down, I think a few years ago, I looked at my life. I looked at the things that inspire me, or the things that I want to be remembered for, and I came to light to actually understand that I'm inspired by, or I'm passionate about 4 things. And I couldn't cut all this, I couldn't cut myself into saying like I'm going to focus on one and this and this and this. Hence, like my startup journey as a startup guy, it's more like it has to do with people, because I'm passionate about people. It has to do with education, because education is more like a powerful kind of a tool that we can use to solve a lot of problems. And then technology as well. Technology makes lives simple, and lastly, I've identified the last piece to be entrepreneurship. To say entrepreneurship can actually be, I'm not saying it's the answer, but then I believe that entrepreneurship empowers everyone. Without entrepreneurs, we will cease to move forward within our local economies. We cannot grow our country. We are where we are as a country today. The status quo right now is prevailing because we're lacking a lot of entrepreneurs, and I'm talking about good entrepreneurs, people who are solving problems within our economy. So those are some of the things that I've identified, and I said, let me rather amalgamate all these passions and create something. And then from there, a lot of other people will be able to benefit from that. You know, it makes like life easier in a way. You know, for me, that's what I believe.
Oh, that's so interesting. And then somebody might look at you and think you had it easy. You know, what advice do you have for somebody who wants to follow your footsteps?
In terms of following my footsteps, I don't advocate for people to follow my footsteps, but then I want to say that there is no person with an easy past. So we all like go through hurdles. We all go through problems. The one thing is just, as I've said earlier, it's just like to stand up and chase your dreams. That's the number one thing, you know, because there's nothing that can beat passion. You know, they can copy what you do as an entrepreneur, you know, but they cannot copy your passion. You cannot even Google passion. You can Google the definition of passion, but then you can't copy, you know, someone's passion. So you follow something that's in line with what inspires you, in line with with who you are. If you just spend time to understand, you know, yourself as an entrepreneur, you'll be able to marvel through anything. Nothing can actually stop you.
Interesting, thank you. And then how do people get hold of you?
To get hold of me, you can find me on social media, Startup Guy. You can visit my website, my personal website. I think it also has like a lot of information about the activities and the companies that I've started, startupguy.co.za. That's the best way to actually get hold of me.
Thank you so much, Sandile, the Startup Guy, for joining us. Don't forget to join us next time.